dado out the shelves where they go into those sides that I just ripped up. So the first thing I do is I disconnect the electric. What I did, I wired, instead of having this thing direct wired or just on a switch with a plug, I went from my switch into a disconnect box, all right? So basically I just pull a lever and it totally disconnects the electric to the machine. I don't trust, these things have those magnetic switches, and I don't really trust those magnetic switches when I'm messing with a blade. About 35 years ago, my dad and I were on a coffee break in the shop, my old shop, not this building. So we were having coffee, and we were sitting maybe 20 feet away from the saw, all right? And we're sitting there drinking our coffee, eating our Danish or whatever, and talking. All of a sudden, we hear the table saw go on. What the hell, how did that, we got a ghost in the shop? I went over to look at it, and the switch, the button looked like it was, there's a green button for you press to turn it on and a red button to shut it off. And they looked like they were in the right positions, but the machine was running. So I hit the red button and it shut it off. All right? I said, wow, that's weird. And I went back and we're having some coffee, we're talking again, and same thing happened a few minutes later. So, and that was with those magnetic switches. So what we did, we took the switch apart and we found there was sawdust in there. So, and it was sticking a little and it didn't want to work properly. So ever since that time, the first thing I went and did, well back then I called an electrician, or the electrician that did all our work. I gave him a call. I had him put disconnect switches on all the machines that we routinely change blades or cutters or shapers and our table saws, the radial arm saws. Yeah, whenever I change the blades, I always make sure I disconnect the electric to them. And I got to pay attention. I'm talking. Number one, I'm tired because again I'm working a lot of hours. So I'm tired and I'm talking and that's distracting me. But I've got to concentrate on how many blades I'm putting in here. These are dado blades, and I want to put a 3/4 slot. I usually set my dados for a depth of about 3/16 of an inch. By the way, this came with an old cast iron wrench. This table saw, it's a Delta Unisaw. It was made actually back in the 40s or 50s, I don't know which, but I had one of the, we had lost the wrench that came with it. So what I did, I had this wrench, this is from one of my big spray guns, all right? So you can see here was the original wrench. What I did, I took a piece of 1/4-inch steel, all right, and I cut it and I welded it. You can see here where I welded it on with my stick welder. And I had painted it yellow, so it's easy to find it. Because I'm looking, we're always looking for it. Where the hell's the wrench? Who's got the wrench? Where'd you put it? When it was yellow, we were able to find it all the time. So if you're wondering what that funny looking wrench is, okay. Alright, this is my, this is a Bloom, B-L-U-M machine. It was initially made for boring the 35mm cup holes for European type hinges. Alright, but what they did, they've got this head they put on here, and it's an option. And it has 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, there's 7 5mm drill bits in here on 32mm centers. Alright, so what I do, when I just have a small job, just a few holes to drill, I'll use this machine, alright, and I'll bore the holes. You drill it, then you move it down, you drill another set, you drill, and the way you locate it, it's got these retractable pins here on each side, and after you drill your first series of holes, you move it down and you let this drop down into the last hole, alright? And that'll make sure that the next hole starts exactly 32mm from the center of that last hole. Alright, so you'll see what's happening. And I've got these little stops here, alright, on each side. Alright, that lets me know where to start and where to finish now. So, alright, this machine runs on air. The motor itself is electric, but there's pneumatic pistons here. Actually actuates it and lets it go down and up, and also I don't know how loud it is, whether you can hear me, but it only makes noise while it's actually drilling. It shuts off between each cycle. So, all right, here we go. I push it against the fence, and then I go down, and this is my bottom shelf. This is it's going to be a drawer in here, but this is the upper section where I want to have adjustable shelves. So what I do, I just push it in here and I let that stop register against the top edge of the shelf cutout. I make sure everything's clear, your hands are clear, and you just press this button. Now you release these clamps, come down and lock this in place. You just turn that and it releases it. Now I'm going to move it down. And then I'm going to let this pin here come down, and it goes into the last hole that was drilled, alright? See here, these swing out of the way when you're not using it. It pushes it back, but I bring it in, I bring this up to there, all right? All right, now I'm going to move over, and now here's the last hole. I turn this, it's spring loaded, all right, and I let it drop into that last hole, and now the next drill will start exactly 32mm past that center. Alright, I know there's a loud noise in the background, and that's because I've got fans on. I've got a gable fan running up there, I got a floor fan over there, and another one over there, and another one over there. So you're not going to be able to hear me too well, so I'm not going to do a lot of talking. But what I am doing is I'm going to route out some wafer holes, or wafer slots. I don't know if you can see these lines. I've got register lines on here. And those lines correspond to lines on the frames in here, all right? These are the sides for this is the frame, the face frame, and these are the sides of the box. So yeah, I'm going to wafer them onto here, and that's what I'm about to do. I'm using these center lines that I already put on here to register where I have to make the slots. And I'm going to use a number 10 wafer. So here we go. I've got 3 or 4 different wafer machines, slotting cutters or whatever you want to call them, biscuit machines. This DeWalt has a dial here that you can turn, and it'll set it for either number 0, number 10, or number 20, which is actually setting the depth. The higher the number, the deeper it'll route.